Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Shuffle Bus. This time I have Neil with me for some commentary. We are
Commentary on
covering,
myself.
I know, right? Like, what a way to play. We are getting ready to play or watch your round one matchup with Waves, who is playing an Aradel list that has 4 Sympathy, 2 Nature, 2 Charm, and 2 Illusion. So a 4 die Aradel deck, 4 color Aradel deck. And Neil, you're playing Xander with looks like 5 Sympathy, 4 Divine, and 1 Charm. So a little splash of Charm there.
Yep.
We can talk about that little splash of Charm if you want, because I
Yeah,
got by it pretty bad on stream the other night.
there's only 2 charm dice in the deck.
Sure.
Uh, a Summon 3-Eyed Owl book in my first 5, and 1 copy of Neil.
Yep.
That is essentially like just a turn a round 2 Augury option.
Mhm.
Um, I can't really think of a situation where I would put the Neil in my first 5.
Sure. And just for everybody that's watching this video, the deck lists are in the description below. So if you're curious about looking at the deck list before the game gets started, or you want to follow along with the deck list while the game's happening, they're down there below. If you want to actually get the entire tournament's deck list, they're available on the Discord channel in the Shuffle Bus tournament channel of the community Discord. It's a pinned post there, and it's a PDF that's downloadable. So please feel free to head over to the community Discord and get that list of decks if you're wanting to see the entire tournament and all 22 players that enter this tournament and what they decided to play. So Neil, let's just kind of a quick rundown. I don't know much about Waves from a player perspective. Did you find out if he's a newer player or is he an experienced player? Do you know much about him from that side?
I don't.
Okay.
Obviously, he was an extremely nice guy. We had a great match. Uh, he was very fun to play against. I
Yeah.
I hope he.
And this is your first official tournament game, right? Like for
Yes.
Ashes? Yeah,
This is
that's
in fact
awesome.
my first game of Ashes against anyone that's not you.
Well, hopefully I prepared you well. I don't know. Um, the, uh, the tournament, the tournament rules are a little bit different. So for anybody that's playing casual Ashes, sometimes Ashes games can go a little long. And so
This
to
is a
keep a
long
tournament
one.
right, and in order to keep tournament games timely, we've implemented a round timer limit. I think it's 50 minutes, if I remember correctly. Is that when you guys started, or was it 60 that you started? I can't
60.
remember. It's 60. Okay. So at 60 minutes, if the game is still live, sudden death rules kick in. And in round one, those sudden death rules were tested as 2 cards at the player prepare phase of additional fatigue damage. So basically, you discard 2 cards off the top of your deck, and if you can't do that, then you start taking fatigue damage on top of the regular draw fatigue damage. So, like if you have an empty hand and we go into fatigue and time, you're going to take 7 a turn instead of 5. We changed that up in round 2 just for anybody that's watching and following along with this coverage after a conversation with Nick, who indicated to us that the sudden death rules were actually changed to 2 cards off the top of the deck at each player's turn in sudden death to really speed up the end point
Right,
of the
which
game
makes it so much faster.
so much
The
faster. Right.
It would have been in this game if you're gonna watch the whole thing. I encourage you to do so because there's some interesting stuff that goes on. But the sudden death time is not long.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that especially with Nick's rules on it, so that's a change for the tournament going forward. So if you watch this and watch sudden death rules on this, and then see future coverage from us on the Shuffle Bus tournament where sudden death rules have changed, it's because ultimately we had a conversation with Nick and found out that like our interpretation of what he was saying in sudden death rules was incorrect, and he was actually telling us that it's done per player turn, not at the player prepare phase. So. Yeah, so let's get this party started. You
Yeah,
said the
it is
video
a
doesn't
long
have a
match, so we
long.
should jump in.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's just kind of get things going here and see what your first 5 and um
Okay, we're recording.
I watched Waves match last night against his round 2 opponent, and so I have a pretty good idea of what he first fived in that match, and I'd be curious to see what he first fives in this one.
Right,
Um
so I don't actually know what he first 5. Like we'll be able to figure it out after. Uh,
well, he first five
after
Squall, Stallion and Blue Jaguar.
Right, he first 5'd all his books for
Right.
sure.
And then I think he first fives and expand energy, if I remember correctly. So that like when he's out of books, he's played all his books down, he's got all that stuff, and then but he's spent no dice yet. So then he just goes ahead and draws cards, which work really well with Squall Stallion and with just with his deck and Torrent in general. And then the fact that most of the rest of the deck is pretty cost efficient. The deck list has a few different things in it that are interesting, so we'll talk about those if they come up in this matchup. Mainly, he's playing. I think it's Transmute Magic as like a 3 of.
Right. I
which
saw him. I don't think he played one.
Which is a rare card to see. And I watched him in his round 2 matchup, which is also available if you're following our coverage. It's available on Discord right now, in the media section of Discord, the community Discord. And it's also available on the Facebook Ashes Online Facebook group tournament thread. So you played Three-Eyed Owl and meditated 1.
He decided to let me go first, having rolled more basics than me. I just meditated 1. I played Owl.
Like the way your deck first fives Angelic Rescue to shut off Aradels and Odettes on your Owls, right? So you're not just spending a die to like fetch a Phoenix-born removal. Like you're actually going to keep the Owl and be able to still get value from it round 1, which I think is a really good opener with Owl. I think that's a really nice play. And I think that's the Stallion book there.
Yeah, that was Summon Squall Stallion. Yeah, like I'm also fine. Like in most cases, I'm fine trading the Owl for whatever. But against Aradel and Odette specifically, like the excuse me, the removal of it is so cheap and easy that it turns my Angelic Rescue into like counter your removal, discard a card instead of just being counter your removal.
And grabbing that Sonic Swordsman here is really kind of lucky that you got to meditate it right off the top, because it's a situation now where your Scald is turned on for 3 damage against a big threat like a Stallion. If he makes a Stallion, you can just Scald the Stallion now for value.
Right.
And it costs you essentially 1 die to do that.
So
I don't think that's
you saw the interaction we just talked about. He tried to Water Blast the Owl, and I just rescued it.
Yep.
Then he made a Stallion.
Yep. And Stallions are tricky. Like they're not really a big threat, right? Like the Stallion itself, like takes time to become a big threat. It sort of gives you basically an infinite amount of time to essentially deal with it. Like where, at some point you go, oh, like this thing's just now something I can't ignore anymore. But I think like the best way to beat Stallion, in my opinion, is just to remove them, because you don't want them to get 2 of them online and start torrenting for 2 tokens a turn.
A little thing there. We had kind of moved past the phase, but he had missed his Stallion draw.
Oh, okay.
So before he discarded the Owl, we like wound it back and let him discard. So he discarded a New Ideas.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like I've talked about on Stallion on stream a bunch. I talked about it actually in the just shortly with the commentary of Nick went the other day on stream. How I think that Stallion is like just kind of mediocre. Like spending 2 dice to make a 0/3, and then like if you discard cards into it and then it gets killed, it feels really bad. Once there's 2 Squall Stallions in play, then the discarding card suit is not as bad, but it has the potential to like really wreck you if you just like discard some cards into it and it doesn't get in for damage.
So is this Stallion supposed to have a status token on it from the New Ideas discard?
No, he discarded that to Owl.
Oh, got it.
You don't actually discard the Stallion, you put it on the top or bottom.
Right. That's what I thought, but I was like, what's going on with the discard? But the Owl got through. That's what happened there.
Right. Yeah. So now he has played Majestic Titan and I think Blue Jaguar.
Yep.
Last turn I had played my Lion book. Here I play Augury. I'm trying to decide how I want to play Augury, which I think was incorrect. I think I should have used that Sympathy dice I was dinking around with.
Yeah, I think if you do that, right, like you can
Because now I can't make both a swordsman and a lion if I want to.
Right. That's what I was thinking
Right.
as well. Like it if you would have just done the other one, you would have had swordsman and lion still here.
Right. But I don't
Um,
have Scald Lion and Swordsman dice anyway, so it didn't really matter that much.
right, right. Because I think you're still going to play Scald over swordsman lion, right? Like that's going to
Right.
be a thing.
And I had thought about playing Scald right there, but I really I wanted to get him to
Hmm.
Torrent before I.
Well, plus you kind of want him to drop. To be honest, you want him to play the Majestic Titan into the Scald, right? Like if anything, you force the book discard to keep the Titan around. Like that's kind of what you would have to do, right? Like if you're going to get rid of Titans permanently outside of combat tricks, like because the Titan's a 3/4, if I
It's a three
remember
four,
correctly.
yep.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
you can pay a dice and sack the book and remove alterations and exhaustion from it.
right, but I
So
thought you could sack the book to protect it from effects as well. You have to
no,
spend a die to
that's what
do
it
that.
used to do.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm remembering the
That's in
1.0
1.0,
version.
yeah. So I
Uh,
meditate here. I decide that I'm going to
play the
play
swordsman.
swordsman instead of
Hmm.
uh, lion,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just because the swordsman matches up with the horse so good.
Sure, absolutely does. I mean, and I think this is the
Miss
Miss
Spirit.
Spirit book. Yeah. Um, and Swordsman's also really good against Miss Spirits, right? Because of the alert on it. Like,
Yeah, I mean I think swordsman's a great unit. I
yeah, I like Swordsman a ton. There's a lot of reasons to like Swordsman here.
but you see
You don't.
my normal plan. The only thing I can augury for in round one is a swordsman. So
Sure.
my normal plan is to augury for swordsman to get the 3 damage out of Scald.
Right.
Um,
And you're going to get
this,
that play.
which yeah, I will. Um, is not it's a little awkward because Titan's at 3/4.
Hmm.
Um, so here I play the Scald,
Right.
draw a card.
Earthquake's really good against Majestic Titan.
Earthquake's really good. So he Golden Veils the first um, Scald, which I had put him on, but I figured I'd just make him do it because uh, next turn. I mean I drew the Earthquake here, so that's even better.
Right.
But next turn I would be able to augury for the Earthquake,
So now
and
you can augury for another Scald if you want to.
which is what I think I do, but I don't. I'm not sure.
Sure. Yeah. So we drop a Miss Spirit. Like from a board position standpoint, he's kind of got you a little bit with those bigger health units, right? Like
Well,
you can't.
this is so this is the problem with horse, is that right now horse is nothing.
Right. It's an
Literally
X3.
meaningless.
Yeah.
So I attack Miss Spirit with Scald, and I think this is the wrong play. This is kind of the trap I put myself into that put me behind in this game. Was I wanted to get a situation where the Majestic Titan couldn't attack. I didn't want to attack with Swordsman before Majestic Titan
Sure.
because I
But
didn't
I
want him
think,
to get just free damage on the Swordsman. So
but honestly, like you're not going to be able to trade the Titan this round, anyways, right?
no, but there's only one Titan, so I don't mind leaving it around.
Sure.
So there I attacked horse, forced the Aradel block because if he lets the horse get attacked, then I exhaust the Titan.
Right.
And then he Titans my face. What I should have done was instead of attacking Miss Spirit, I should have attacked horse
Sure.
because I have the Earthquake. So if I leave his horse
On one.
on one and I Earthquake, I get all his guys at the beginning of the next round.
Right. Yeah. I see. That was where I was thinking. Okay, so then that would actually open up your ability to attack Titan because even if the Titan counters you, and with the like, if you take like you said, Scald into horse, and he just takes 2 on the horse, like you can try to take Sonic Swordsman into his Majestic Titan to see if he defends it. You still just take 3 from the Titan, but to your point, like you have the Earthquake online to wipe his board out, and now you don't, right? So like it's a big tempo swing. You can do the same thing again here in round 2 unless he
Right,
going
which is
first
what
here somehow.
I think that is my plan. Though he goes first at the top of round 2, so we'll see what happens.
Right, and you have time to set that up a little bit, right? Like if he just keeps playing more units into an Earthquake board, that's like even more value for you. Um, so you pick up the Shield Mage.
Drawing the Angelic was very big here, I think.
That's huge.
Um,
Because he's going to try to Aradel the Owl again.
or the Squall. Like what if I get to Angelic Rescue the Aradel side action, it's very good.
Absolutely. He's going to bring that second Stallion online.
Right, because he wants to get the extra torrent value.
Right. Yep. But I don't think he can actually torrent here. But maybe he doesn't care enough about cards in hand to worry about
torrent.
that.
It's a side action.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, if he torrents here, he leaves your Owl up. So, yeah, he Water Blasts instead. See what I'm saying? So, like...
He tried to Water Blast the Scald, which I think is fine, too. Like, the Owl and the Scald at this point in the game have very similar value, where, like, the Scald may be actually better because it actually gets to trade for cards in play instead of cards in hand.
Right.
But I play the Rescue.
Yep.
And we need to keep track of how many times he torrents, because I think it's going to be important to talk about at the end of the game.
Yeah, for sure. So far, it's 0, but...
Right. It's about to be some.
Right.
So here, I'm deciding, I have, obviously at the top of this round, I have a million options. I do play the Shield Mage as I sit here and hover over it.
I like Shield Mage here a lot. 2 health is not irrelevant, and the fact that your units now can't be attacked.
This Shield Mage like absolutely works him. Like it just gets him so good.
Right.
So then I summon Lion.
I think so many decks, especially in this tournament, are relying on like direct combat removal tricks, right? There's just not, like, looking through the deck lists in this tournament, you don't see a lot of like strict removal. I mean, obviously River Skald's everywhere, but strict removal is something that you're not, like, I'm not seeing a ton of, right? Like, I mean, there are some crescendos and things like that around. But
and Sword of Virtues.
Well, yeah, Odette's Sword of Virtue is just like, obviously.
And Shield Mage specifically, like Odette and Aradel both, kind of get for free.
Right.
In this case, because he had Water Blasted earlier in the turn, the Shield Mage is safe. And now,
safe, yeah.
So here's the first torrent. This is torrent number 1.
Okay.
He made Mist Spirits, which I don't care about at all because they're going to get picked up by the...
Yeah, by the speaker of... I think Mist Spirit Book is a major misplay into Xander, unless you're going to be really aggressive with those spirits. Right? Like, unless you're just going to start trying to, like, force Phoenixborn blocks, but now that you can't attack units, like you can't even do that, right? Like,
right. His Mist Spirits are meaningless because I have the Shield Mage and I have an alert unit. So, like, they attack. So here, this is kind of funny.
You actually leave the Titan up. That's interesting.
Right, because he only has 1 Titan to summon.
Right. I think that's a fine play. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
Yeah, I think it's very similar. Whichever one I hit, now that they can't attack my guys, like, and then I Augury for River Skald.
Yeah. So are you gonna Xander back the Sonic Swordsman from round 1 for this Skald then to kill the Titan?
I believe that's what I do. I can't do it all in one turn because I have to meditate to use the Xander.
Right.
So he frogs out my Lion.
I think he probably should have frogged the Shield Mage.
Yeah, there's a
right?
lot of junctures of this game where he could have killed Shield Mage and doesn't. So I don't know
Because I think
if he doesn't
if he
care
just
about it
undervalued it,
or
right, right. Because I think like if you frog out
another
the is that
Misspirit
another
book.
Misspirit book? Yeah, okay. So he's gonna just try to play a bunch of Misspirits on you now. But the if you frog out the Shield Mage, like you can Titan attack the Lioness in the exact same way, right? And your Titan's a summon, so like getting like trading summons for summons feels a lot better than like anything. Or he can Titan attack the River Skald.
So here I
Um,
send Scald into Horse,
yeah.
where he
Oh,
has the option to trade or block with Aradel, and I'm fine with the trade.
yeah.
Um,
I think that's a good trade. I think the only thing
and then I
uh,
meditate,
if that was your end
which I
goal was
believe is
to,
to, like you said, turn on the Xander.
yeah. I do think like if your end goal was to take Horse down, like you could have just attacked with the Sonic Swordsman first,
So here we talk
and
about the Shield Mage because he's
yeah,
trying to attack my Sonic Swordsman.
yeah. Yeah, I think he's now realizing he made a major mistake in not using the nature die to ping the shield mage away. Because not that the wing lioness does nothing, but it in that particular state, the wing lioness is just a body, right? Like it's not a the only difference is if he keeps your
Right.
lioness up, like you don't have to sacrifice Scald to his stallion. You just have to
Right. I mean, Lioness is a very good unit.
yeah, you know, I think she's one of the best. One of the best for sure. But I just think that like there's a variety of different play patterns that could have occurred there where your opponent's not left locked out. And see, like I don't feel like summoning, and this is no knock on waves by any stretch, but I don't feel like summoning Mist Spirits does anything for him here, especially with Swordsman on the board. Like it's just like spend 2 dice, do nothing. Because what are the spirits going to do?
right.
You
Especially with
know, I
the
mean,
Shield Mage, like they have to attack Xander, and I can choose to block and like alert
let,
counter them.
right, exactly,
Um,
exactly. And at the very least, you can even block with the owl, right? You don't even have to use the swordsman if you don't want to, because you just have 2 more copies of like kill all missports spirits in game.
right.
So
So I owl
um,
him here.
get rid of Vanish.
Yep.
I'm not sure I understand what the Vanish is in the deck for. I guess Guild Link.
I don't know. It's not in the
Yeah,
deck for anything against me, so it's a fine discard.
yeah. I guess it's also there as a way to counter Molten Gold if they try to Molten Gold the Phoenixborn's face,
Okay, so
which
now
there
he's
are a ton of Molten
making
Gold.
a
The Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Yeah. Jaguar is good at getting around the swordsman for damage to PB face.
Yeah, that's it. The Jaguar is like halfway good against Shield Mage.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm hovering over River Skald, but right now it doesn't do anything. I think I'm supposed to activate Xander, and I think that's
You
what I
gotta,
end up doing.
yeah, you gotta slide Xander in first, and then, because Rally the Troops is just a 1 die cost, right? It's not 2 die.
Yes, it is a side action 1 divine class. So yep. So I go get Swordsman.
Swordsman.
I play River Skald.
Yep. Draw third Angelic Rescue.
And I kill the Titan.
Seems good. Third
See,
Angelic
now
Rescue
I'm
seems
okay
good.
killing the Titan because he doesn't have dice to summon it again this turn.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that being a later play pattern for sure. I think you could I think you like the swordsman's
So
not going to be a
so
threat with
then this is
Jaguar
kind of
ever.
interesting because he passes to me. So
Interesting.
now I'm attacking Jaguar with Scald.
Right. Yeah.
My plan here is I want him to block with Aradel so that I can use the Sonic Swordsman. It's a
Right. But you may
terrible
not.
plan. It is an awful plan. This is the juncture of the game where like I should have realized how long this game was going to go,
Sure.
and I just got like trigger happy on the Swordsman ability. I'm like, I get to kill a blue Jaguar and I get to exhaust his Mist Spirit. This is great. Uh,
And why does that turn into a problem?
because I just, like we were talking about, I just don't give a crap about the Mist Spirits. Like they're not a threat to me at all.
Sure. So you think you should have just attacked
Right. So I
Phoenix
think I should
Form?
have just come to the face there.
But if you go to the face, he's still got Mist Spirit and Blue Jaguar just to defend, right? Like, I guess it's the same effect, right? You exhaust one or the other.
Right.
Still,
It probably turns out that way. So here we pass out. That's fine. I didn't do anything with the Shield Mage. Obviously, it's 0 power. You see me later try to cheat, and Carl calls us out on it when I uh, try to attack with it. I try to pump it with a divine power and attack for 1, but
why can't you do that?
I had blocked with it and not exhausted
Oh,
it because it like it quote like in my mind it didn't counter because it didn't do anything. And here I discard the rally, which I don't think in hindsight I think discarding the rally is okay to draw an extra card, but the way the game played out, I should have kept it.
yeah. I mean, I think Rally is gives you a lot of tempo when you're playing a heavy ally deck, right? Because it's sort of like ceremonial recurring allies for you,
Well,
only on the
when
reverse
we
effect.
when we get to the juncture um, that I'm talking about, I'll explain it a little more. But uh,
I mean, I like the Wing Lioness play here again with him having just a board full of Mist Spirits. Like he has
yep.
to be worried about an additional Earthquake, right? Like that has to be a thing. Um,
So this is just like a very safe kind of opener where I make a summon and activate Augury, and I decide to pick up a heal.
sure.
I don't remember why. I didn't
Well,
think
I
that
think
Anchornaut was good, but I think it probably should have been Light Swordsman.
yeah, I think Light Swordsman here. Like you're near the battlefield limit, but at least Light Swordsman allows you to play a 2/1 and swing into
Right. I mean,
like a
I'm
Stallion.
gonna trade some guys this turn. Like
Sure.
I know that I'm probably gonna cast Earthquake, and it's probably gonna kill the owl that has 1 damage on it.
Right.
Um, Scald having Recover 1 is very big to my game plan,
Sure.
which I think is really funny. It's just like why does Scald have Recover 1? But we asked the
Because
question like,
almost
why does Scald do what Scald does all the time?
because Scald is broken.
So he makes a horse,
Yeah.
which is fine.
I don't think you have to meditate any dice here, right? Like you're
I
if you play
so
Angelic, if you play the Light Swordsman, you have to.
at this juncture, I have realized that this game's gonna go very long, and I've been trying to play in a way that decks me slowest.
Sure.
Again, this is a reason why I think I should have attacked face with Sonic Swordsman. If he decided he wanted to sack one of his guys to it, that's fine too. But like I need to be playing a little more aggressive because I'm playing not to use cards, but I'm not playing aggressive enough to kill him.
Right. And that is a tricky thing in Ashes is to sort of find that line where you go, oh, I have to make um, I have to make a determination as to whether I'm going to play more defensively and conservatively, or I'm going to make a open myself up a little bit, but also just play more aggressively. And
So here I meditate the Augury book away. Obviously, the Augury book is done, and I
right,
meditate 1 additional card because I want to have the dice up for rescue
Angelic Rescue and Light
and
Swordsman. Yep.
either of Swordsman's because I still have the option to get another Sonic Swordsman back.
Mm-hmm.
So here I attack into horse with River Skald, and you see me do this, I think, next round as well, where I just like put the horse on 1 life so that when he decides to make his Majestic Titan, I can get his whole board with Earthquake.
Right. Right.
But that's my plan this turn is like I'm gonna Earthquake the Majestic Titan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna leave the rest of his stuff alone until that happens.
Right. So at this point, like this is where you could start getting aggressive with your units on Phoenix Form damage, right? And force units to come over and block if they wanted to, or
Well,
like because you're kind of in this funny position where you can't really Like, what are you gonna do if you just pass and he passes?
Well, I have
Right?
an
Like,
owl book, so I have tons of main actions. Like I have an
sure,
owl in play that's a main action. I have summon owl that's a main action, and I have activate summoned owl that's a main action. So I have a
sure.
lot of free passes because I want to get. So here's torrent number 2. Remember, this is the
Yep.
second one. Um, I want to get him to play the Majestic Titan, and then I want my
Sure.
guys to get in for Phoenix damage after I get there. So he just attacks face with the 1 power horse, and I take it.
Sure. It really makes no difference there.
So
Yeah, you just
so like we
remember
are talking
dream.
about, I'm gonna owl him. This is the secret power of owl, is that like it just gives you 1,000 main actions
Oh, I agree.
to force your opponent to like. So he discards an expand energy.
It's just
Um,
a nice, slow, methodical.
right, like with the Angelic Rescue in hand and the Shield Mage in play, my guys are super safe. So as long as I get to wipe his board with the Earthquake, I can get in for a bunch of damage.
Right. Yeah, and I think that personally, what I like most about the owl is exactly what you're talking about. Like in many games of this, first fives are like, how long can you delay doing the things you really intend to do with your first five, right? Whether that's, to your point, like playing Sonic Swordsman and River Skald, or um, you know, summoning a Majestic Titan or whatever. And I think anytime you have to bring those units into play earlier in the round, you're behind on dice for that round, and so you're also giving your opponent a lot more time to just deal with those threats in a way. So he's going to bring Titan online. This is
Okay,
where you're going to.
so this is where I throw the game away.
Okay,
The rest of this round, I believe,
interesting.
I'm just way too greedy.
Okay,
Like, I should just be firing off the Earthquake here. Oh, well, first I have to rescue my Lion from his
right.
Water Blast. So 3 turns in a row he's Water Blasted. 3 turns in a row I've blocked it.
That's pretty fortunate for sure.
So, oh, maybe this isn't the round. I lied.
Okay, because
I just do the Earthquake.
I just say I think the best thing you can do here is Earthquake, but you have to leave that charm up for playing Owl. I think. So yeah. But I think you should have spent a sympathy. I don't know what else, you had no other sympathy cards in hand. So
Agreed.
what were
I,
Yeah, I
I
think
think
you
that
should have
was a
kept the
misplay.
divine dot. You should have kept the divine up there only for the purposes of the fact that he's still got a blue Jaguar to play, and he's still got a
And
bunch of
some
Mist Spirits to
Misspirits.
play. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think using that dice was wrong. I don't think
but I
that I
think if he
deserve. I mean, I'm gonna get back a River Skald.
sure,
Uh,
but he just put himself on by pinging the Lioness away. He just put himself on one Mist Spirit only.
right, which I
Um,
think is fine because, like, again, we talked about how bad the Misspirits are. So
right,
using that dice to finish off one of my 2 power guys before it attacks, I think is better than this. So now he's
but he
given up
can't
on
because
Jaguar.
if you yeah he's given up on Jaguar and he's given up on Mist Spirit. So if you just attack with Swordsman here, like you probably kill a Mist Spirit. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I'm just throwing dice everywhere. So this is what I said. I go get a Scald.
Yeah.
Um, and I play a Scald.
Sure. Draw a
Uh,
card. The old
and
flash archer.
I fire off a heal at one of his spirits. So it's like big Anchornaut, but
Right.
my board position is insane here.
I agree. I agree. I
I was wrong. This is not the turn that I throw it away.
I just like if you still had Light Swordsman, you're attacking for 9 here. Right? Like you just
Right.
take your
That
sword.
dice was wrong for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
screwed that up. So here I'm attacking Miss Spirit, just because I don't want it to be able to block one
Sure.
of the other units. And I want to see what he does. Um, so now I attack for 3.
Yeah.
Uh,
What's that? Figures in the fog? What's figures in the fog? Oh, it's just
he just
exhausting. Yeah.
exhausts it.
Sure. Okay.
So he doesn't take 3 from the figures in the fog. That's fine. I that doesn't wreck me. Like it's gonna like fog one of my guys at some point in the game. It just happened there.
Right.
So he goes, he passes, I assume. And then I must make a...
You must make an owl, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
you wouldn't want to leave the owl book unplayed this round.
Right, it's not like I'm doing anything else with my...
With the other sympathy die. Yeah.
I pass
Yeah,
back, he passes back.
I don't know what the final health totals end up in this game, but that not playing Light Swordsman might be the deal breaker.
Well, we'll talk about how I actually lose this game when we get to that juncture, because it's not how, like, unless you were watching the stream when I talked about it, it's something else. So he discards a transfer, then we both pass.
He just discards a transfer?
To my owl activation.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you activate the owl. Yeah. Got it. Yep. I need
all my dudes recover.
Yeah, it's hard to believe looking at this particular board right now that you're losing this game.
Yeah, spoiler alert, I'm losing this game, if you hadn't figured out already.
Yeah, I think you've alluded to it a number of times.
Right,
like,
and the results of this tournament are publicly available long before this video comes out. So he's on the play. I have a squad that he can't attack. He does have a... I'm looking to see if I have another Skald in there.
No, it's in your deck still.
He's got the Water Blast for free this time, and he knows it because of the... I've played all 3 of the things.
Yeah, I mean
the rescues.
But if he water blasts a Skald, like, he also knows he's just opening you up to re-Xander it back, right? So, like,
right, he does. I think he does water blast a Skald, and I do think that that's incorrect.
Yeah, I think because you just reopen Xander to just pull it right back, and you've been doing that all over the board.
Right. In my second round match, I played 5 Skalds, I think. So here's where I start to throw the game away. So I've spent my
number
charm
one.
dice.
I would have left. Yeah, I would have left the Divine Power down and played, because you could have summoned it off of the class.
It was a class, wasn't it? I think it just rolled when I moved it.
Oh, it was a class, yeah.
Okay. So spending the charm dice was very bad there.
Sure.
I should have just spent one of my sympathies, and then I was under the assumption that the game was going to end this round because I had a huge squad. I had a million answers in hand, and so not only do I not make an owl, but I meditate the owl book away.
Yeah.
Thinking that, again, trying to play around getting decked.
Sure.
By spending my books in play rather than the thing. But my logic there is flawed, because I think that if I think the game is going to end this round, I shouldn't care about my deck total.
That's true. Yeah, you definitely, if you think you're going to win the game, you should still leave your ready board alone and just use your deck as a resource, because even if you play no cards from hand, you don't take fatigue damage, right? So, like, if you just play off of your ready spells and play, and you think you can win the game off just strictly ready spells and Xander ability, then, like, you can't lose in that scenario, right? Like Xander is giving you a permanent recursion every turn of your best ally. So, like, at some point you could just have 3 swordsmans on this battlefield, right? Like, that's a real possibility. And if the game goes long, that that's a thing, right? That's a thing you could potentially do. I also think you were really conservative with your swordsman throughout this entire tournament, entire match, when you could have just been, like, really aggressive with it, knowing that you have access to more swordsmans. Like, consistently,
it got through once.
Yeah,
it got fogged once,
right?
And one time it got blocked. Like, it's not like I haven't been attacking with it. So here I'm trying to do the horse thing again. Mm-hmm. Put 2 damage on the horse so it's ready to get killed.
This time, I guess. But Meteor's really bad for you here.
Well, so this is the turn where I start trying to throw the game away because I'm trying to set up a meteor for 1.
Right. But but you just meditated up to do that.
Right, and I realized that after. Again, I told you this turn is a
Yeah.
circus of errors.
Oh yeah, sure.
So he torrents for the 3rd time this game.
Mhm.
And he attacks, at which point I do not block. And I play 2nd Light Swordsman.
Yeah. I
So
do
my
think that's
board looks
easily
insane. Like
right.
but I'm just, like I said, I'm just too greedy trying to do this meteor for 1. And
I definitely don't think you
you'll see me
needed
take
to.
like 4 actions trying to set it up, and
Yeah. But your battlefield is now full, right? Xander's a 6 battlefield.
correct.
Okay. So the Light Swordsman is completely out now.
Right. I mean, my plan is to spend these 2 divine dice on meteor now, and I screwed it up by meditating earlier.
You actually have to meditate down.
Right, which I will do. You'll see in shortly.
Well, the Flash Archer is basically dead for you at this point, right?
Flash Archer cannot be cast in my deck. It's only for Scald.
Right, but I mean, you're with a full battlefield, you can't even like recur a dead Scald. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't take a Scald out of the bin with Xander
Right.
ability.
The only card in my hand that's playable is Meteor.
Yeah.
But so
yeah, Owl 1 or 2 cards away. Yep.
I just owl him on 2 cards, which I think is like when you're low on cards, the owl is really brutal.
So I don't think you've actually netted a card gain or card loss to the torrent like you think. Because he's torrented 3 times, you've owled 3 times. So you've discarded 3 cards, he's put 3 cards back.
Well, that doesn't really matter because the owl card happens regardless of whether he torrents or not, right? Like I would
Right,
just be decking him faster.
Right, so it's a net sum 0 is what I'm getting at. He's not
Right,
actually.
but it would be if he didn't torrent, it would be a net sum +3 for me. Like the owl happens
Sure.
completely separate from the torrent.
Right, but
it's not like I'm like
the
it's not
opposite
like
side of
he's
that is though he's +3 cards on you if he's torrenting.
right. So he is +3 cards on me. Period. The owl's gonna do what it's gonna do regardless of the game state. Like you shouldn't take that into account when calculating the torrents or anything. Like, but as we watch this game, I thought he torrented a lot more. It's possible that he only torrents like 5 times. So here I send a swordsman into the horse, just assuming he's going to block with Aradel. I don't mind getting the 3 damage in. If he, for whatever reason, doesn't block with Aradel, I get to exhaust the Titan.
Right.
And now my other swordsman is free to do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
On a Mist Spirit or whatever to exhaust the Titan if he doesn't do
Well,
something
you can
with it
still
right
just
now.
go into the Stallion too, because it literally makes no difference whether you hit a Mist Spirit for 1 or you hit a Stallion for
Right.
1 at this point. But you're still on Meteor plan.
So he plays a Fade Away, which I think is a good card. And obviously he got me pretty good there with my 3 dice for whatever. So I attack horse again. This time exhausting the Titan.
Yep.
So that's very good.
So I think, yeah, I still think that tricky. You're in a tricky position because like the Mist Spirits just stand in front of all of your attackers, right? Like, so the best you can do is like he's just going to stand a Mist Spirit in front of the Lioness, right?
Right, which is fine. I mean, again, this is one of those things that like is gonna happen, but he just takes it. It looks like I don't remember if he takes it or leaves him up.
Yeah, it looks like he does. I think he's thinking he can do 2 damage to you with the Mist Spirits in return, or at least 1.
Right. So he just takes 2, At this is the juncture where I try to cheat him.
Okay. Why you haven't blocked with the mage yet?
I block with the mage right here because, like you said, he's going to attack with both Mist Spirits.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, but you just if you don't block and you just take the 2, you could have done what you wanted to do.
Agreed. I was just dumb.
Fair
Like
enough.
so
Yeah,
here's the block.
yeah,
It's a
that
free
would
block.
exhaust the mage.
It's a free block because the mage has recover 1. I take 1, and then I think I'm supposed to block. By the way, I don't think that the attack is good. Um, and I looked at that to make sure he couldn't untap the Titan and get in for 3 more. So here he takes 1. We both miss it, and then Carl like discords me. So you're also going to see me bring up Discord.
He says it's in chat here too, so that's
Yeah,
why I think he sends you a Discord because the game chat says something different. He should just have 6 life.
right.
You should
And
have
we
power,
fix it.
right
We go back
power.
and fix it. I have no problem not cheating that guy. I wasn't doing it on purpose.
Sure.
So there, yeah. Carl says you can't power Shield Mage and attack. Then we stop and discuss.
Well, you're in good place for a single point meteor now. And with
Right. So
oh,
again, I was
and you got earthquake,
misremembering. This
so
game is just incredibly long.
right.
Because the turn that I try to see, this is the turn that I was talking about where I have the meteor and the earthquake,
Right.
and I should have just earthquaked, but I'm like trying to do something cheeky, and it just gets me so bad. And I make some bad blocks with my swordsman. I'm just like looking at my shield mage, like, okay,
You're gonna go first here though.
so here I'm trying to talk to Carl. We talk about it. He gains his life. Everything is good.
Yeah. But you're still showing lethal on board just with an outright attack, and you could wipe his entire board out. But then you don't have anything else to really follow up other than, like you said, earthquakes, and now he's got double Stallion book online. Um, that's a big deal, right? Like because now he can just play 2 Stallions a turn,
Right.
and
I mean,
that's a little bit more tricky to deal with. I think you just have to start getting on plan of like, okay, see Xander here. I think Xander's a good play here. I mean, getting
right,
the
because
skull
I
back.
get to kill his Titan. Is that
Yeah,
what I do? I don't remember.
you'd have to with that flash archer in hand. What else are you using the flash archer
Well, yeah, that's what
for?
the flash archer is for, obviously.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
draw a card, kill the Titan. Right now he gets to cast the Titan again. So to your point before, like, if you waited
Right.
till he's out of dice,
In this situation, if he doesn't play Titan right away, like I have the big huge board attack, but I also
right?
just like I said, I play this game way too soft. Like I need to be more aggressive.
Yeah,
And I should have a second owl in play from last turn. I shouldn't have meditated the book away.
right.
Um, because I thought that the game was going to end on damage last turn, beginning of this turn. But it didn't. So if I had had second owl, I could have played for the decking. Because I don't know what the deck counts are here, but they're both very small. So I think he water blasts another lion. Yeah.
Which also feels like that's probably not the correct play, but maybe he doesn't want to open up getting scalded again. So he's like,
Well,
well,
lion is definitely better than Scald. You shouldn't
yeah.
Scald.
But I think to the point of like the biggest threat on your board is a Sonic Swordsman. So if he water blasts you with the swordsman puts 2 on it, like he can force the swordsman into weird places where like you put it at 3. Like I saw him play a very similar sort of deck where he was just having problems dealing with 3-4 units. Like in his second match against Just Cam, he Just Cam had a root armored Hammer Knight, and like he just had no way to deal with root armored Hammer Knight. Even like after making like 5 and 6 status token in that game, 5 and 6 status token Squall Stallions, like Like he wasn't willing to like you weren't willing to he wasn't willing to offer up those as like sacrifice units to kill a root armored hammer knight, and it nearly cost him the game. He's very fortunate that Cam missed a window of opportunity to win the game, and I think that it's easy to see that happen in Ashes because there can be so many lines of play based on like all the information on the board, right? Like all the ready spells on the board, all
This
the
is
cards
definitely
in
the turn
hand.
you can watch me find the worst line of play.
Okay,
So
fair
I
enough.
summoned a lion, which is fine. He summoned a horse, which is fine.
Sure.
Uh,
I mean, you're still on just Earthquake plan here, right? Like,
See, you
just
would
wing
think
Lioness.
that, but
like, why? I mean, why not? What, like,
just wait, just see how this goes.
okay. Like, I don't think Meteor is a card anymore for you at this point. But okay, I'm willing to see what we're working on here.
So
Like,
again, I'm doing the play of Scald into horse, which I still think is
sure.
fine. I think that's
Yeah,
fine every time. He's got a million Mist Spirits. I'm not going to attack face. And putting horse in range of sweeper is good. I put a
but you could
token
have
on my
just wing
Lioness
Lioness
because I
and
should
he
have
couldn't
done that
defend
a
it at
million times
all,
ago.
right? Like you if you just take wing Lioness into the horse though instead of the Scald, he can't defend that at all because of the
But I don't care if he blocks either way. Like if I get the 2
sure.
damage through, that's great. If I don't, I get what I wanted out of the horse.
It's like Torrance 4 here. He has to, right? Like,
Yep, this is torrent
he's
number
got a
4.
billion cards.
And so
Yeah,
here is where I
you
should have
should
just
just.
played Earthquake.
I agree. Yeah, yeah.
But no, I'm smarter than that. So I sent another River Skald into another horse.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that at all. Like,
No, I was definitely wrong. I should have just Meteor, or I should have just Earthquake. I got way too greedy.
I mean, 6 for 1 him, right?
I just, I was trying so hard to either Meteor the Majestic Titan, or not Meteor, either Earthquake the Majestic Titan and take his whole board, or Earthquake for 1.
Yeah, I don't think you have to do that at all.
Right, I should just Meteor there. As it turns out, the way that this goes, I think even if I had Earthquaked that turn, there's Torrent 5, even if I had Earthquake that turn, I would still have been
Well, so
in a bad way.
if he attacks with his board outright here, just to put that out there, like he's just gonna go slow roll you. But if you just let him slow roll you out for his whole board, like yeah, I mean I'm fine with like the first block here. You can't get to 3 damage on it because if you get to 3 damage on it, then he's gonna frog ping it. Um, I still think that like
Right.
he wants.
So even now, Earthquake as a main action would be great.
I agree because he has not used those stallions to any effect yet. And you still have 5 damage. You can 5 damage him and actually 6 damage him if you clear the board.
And here you see me try to cheat again.
How'd you
I
cheat
think.
again?
So here's the meditate.
Yeah.
Very bad. Like just shouldn't mill myself for 2. Just should play Earthquake. And then I
Right.
try to Meteor, which I'm not allowed to do
Nope.
because it is a side action as well. And I put it right
Yep.
back in my hand. Whoops. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, you still,
and
yeah, you could still just
so
earthquake.
instead, I just attack face with Lioness.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that play.
I do. It should have been. It just should have been
Well,
Earthquake. Like
yeah, sure.
because now my Meteor kills my Lioness, and that's bad. Um,
And you took away your win con because you actually had with the divine power showing if you meteor, he has to play a unit.
well,
And
he still has Titan dice up.
right, but
The
so
Titan dice up is what has tricked me into doing this the whole time. I
sure.
just like fooled myself into thinking that I needed to 4 damage the Titan. When if I had just like Earthquaked, he made a Titan, and then I like attack him he's probably just like dead.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah,
Because I
ultimately,
have
like,
Owl to block with.
right,
If it's even necessary to block. So here's torrent number 6.
yeah,
And all of a sudden these horses are big, and I think this is where he just like attacks for 1,000,000.
right, absolutely. You just have to take 6 here. You can't, like, you can block one of the owl into one, and then the swordsman can block a mist spirit. I think that's totally acceptable.
Right. So the Mist Spirit block is actually bad, and I'll explain why in a moment. Uh,
Well, yeah, I mean, it opens up the window when you meteor.
right. So none of that just happened should have happened.
Sure.
I should have wiped his board 2 turns ago because now I meteor.
Right.
Um, and because we have open deck lists and most of his pile is in his discard pile, I should know that he has a Mist Typhoon.
Oh, yeah, you just walked in
At
and
which
missed it.
point he will play next turn and I get annihilated.
Sure.
Like, I spent all that time jacking around worried about the Majestic Titan that
Right.
never gets played, and instead I get wrecked here when he Mist Typhoons my entire board.
Yeah. 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 Mist Typhoon is like literally the worst card for you right now.
Which again,
And
we have open deck lists. I should have known. I have another opportunity here to make an owl if I hadn't meditated the book away. And this is why that block with Swordsman was so bad. Because if I don't block with Swordsman there, the Swordsman survives.
right.
And I still am a huge favorite. So
Agreed.
I've just made like 10 errors this round.
I'd say this round was not very good for you overall. I would agree with
Right.
that.
So
Like,
so when I said I threw the game away in those previous rounds, it was just because the game's hyper long, and I thought that was the round I threw it away, but it wasn't.
right.
It was this one. I
Yeah.
played okay the other rounds.
Yeah, I think you were fine most of the other rounds. I think, there were a couple of lines that I would have taken differently myself, but I also tend to be more aggressive than you as a player. So I just
Right.
play a more aggressive style.
The the one meditate dice I think was bad. The turning class to power on divine in round 3 or 4. But other than that, I think the rest of my
Well, so like a lot of time you had a wing lioness up, like in my opinion, like you had a wing lioness up and you could have just attacked to get 2 damage on the horse, which was your end goal, and not having to take 2 actions to do it. And opened up the earthquake play a whole round earlier, potentially. And on top of that, still had the ability to go 2 damage to the Phoenixborn's face like you wanted, right? Like the net result would have been the same. But it having non-respondable answers like Wing Lioness's stock ability, doesn't give the opponent choice, which means they just have to accept what you want to do instead.
so
And
at the end of that round, you see me horsepower. I think that if you have a horse up at end of round, you should do it before passing because
yeah,
you can essentially cycle a card um,
absolutely.
without decking yourself any further.
I think you're really far behind now just
Oh,
because of his
I'm
presence on
dead.
board. Yeah, yeah,
Like I'm 100% dead. We play this out, obviously for another 7 minutes or whatever because we go to time, but I'm super dead.
sure.
I have I have Xander to get back an attacker and a Lioness that has to do enough damage to him to deck him.
Right.
He makes a horse, he draws a card, and I realized
Well, you can
beginning of
Xander bring
last
back
round
a
or whatever.
Squall.
Yeah, the whole Meteor thing just crushed me. Like it milled 2 extra cards.
Right.
It got in for 3 damage and killed my stuff. Like it put an extra damage on my swordsman so
Yeah.
that he could
Yeah.
Mist Typhoon me. Like I should have just been thinking about the Mist Typhoon. And I mean, credit to Waves. Like he beat me with a card I think is not good.
I think Mist Typhoon's a great card,
No, Mist
but I
Typhoon is a
think
great card. He beat me with Torrents. Like
sure.
because he's torrented 6 times now, and
Yeah.
he has less than 6 cards left in his pile. And
Yeah.
so many
That's
times
true.
throughout the game, it was definitely wrong for me to spend that charm dice in round 3 or whatever.
He's also not meditated really aggressively. You've been a heavy meditator most of this game. Again,
I think I've only meditated like 5 cards. I think he's meditated a similar amount.
oh no, you meditated 3 in round 1. I think you're at like 7 or 8 meditated cards right now.
I don't know. I don't want to go back and look because it's an hour-long game. But,
yeah. I didn't track it. I should have, but I didn't.
So I play Anchornaut. Using the charm there is fine because I have no cards left that require charm. Put a damage on the horse. I use the Xander. I get back a River Skald, which is fine. I think it should have been a Light Swordsman, just to try to sneak through the damage, because my River Skald only does 1.
Sure. I think Sonic Swordsman would have been your best to recur here because you can play 2 swordsmans this turn. So what I mean is like you go, okay, Xander gets swordsman back next turn, plays swords, use Xander ability. You have to meditate 1 card, which is not going to be great, but then play another sword.
Yeah, I mean, I think the game is over. I don't think that there's an out here because I can't amass 6 damage in the time it takes him to make 2 Mist Spirits. So
sure.
it doesn't really matter what my guys are. I'm not going to be able to get past for 6.
Sure.
So here's torrent number 7 or 8.
But I'm just looking at cards in hand and like if you play double swordsman, Anchornaut, another Stallion, you can earthquake out his board again.
Right, which is what I'm trying to do. You can see it here.
Right. So like that's where I'm getting at. Like if your first divine was to bring back a swordsman, it's better than Skald because if you can earthquake out the board and then next turn attack into a nearly empty board, you're going to get 3 damage through, then go top around and potentially do another 3 damage.
I think River Skald was very bad. I think that Light Swordsman was correct because it can kind of like sneak in there, whether I do it this round or next round, because I'm not actually dead.
Right.
Yeah. So here's torrent 9. He puts back on top.
No, that's torrent 8.
Okay, torrent 8.
Yep. Like I understand why you feel that way about the torrent winning the game, but I actually think I think.
Well, I mean I punted the game away in the previous round. Like I could have won in like 7 different ways.
I just also think not using Winged Lioness's ability to affect and then using your Scalds, offering your Scalds up was was a more greedy play than not, because
it makes
at the
no
end
difference
of the day,
though. Like if he had chosen to block with Aradel on any of those Scalds, the game will end. You'll see he'll go to 2 here before the game ends. Like I wanted to save this. Like they both attack Aradel the same.
Sure.
So he makes the Titan. I kill the Titan.
Kill the other Stallion.
Kill the other Stallion. Kill all my Anchornauts.
Right.
And I'm feeling like somehow I still have a chance because he's really low on dice now. And I think about making the Swordsman as a side action.
You can't make the Swordsman because he's holding Mist Typhoon dice still.
Well, because he just has Aradel.
That's
exhausted.
That's true as well.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if I looked for the Mist Typhoon, but like, so torrent 9 or 10 something. 9.
This is 9. Yep. He's gonna just get in for 3.
Yep. So I make a lion.
That'll force the Aradel play.
Yep.
Just trading 2 dice for 1.
It was going to happen to whatever guy I played.
Sure.
And I think the like haste on the Swordsman is better. So here, play Skald.
Yep.
I throw a heal at one of the guys.
Yep.
I look at the number of cards in his library and cry a little inside.
Yeah. Oh,
They
yeah.
go.
Yep.
I don't know why I looked at Discord there.
Series of inevitability.
So Torrent 10.
Okay.
Now I'm forced into play Swordsman and attack.
Well, I think I'd have attacked with Skald there and seen if he attacked with the Mist Spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because then you don't trade the Swordsman going to the top round. You have.
But so my only other option is pass, and if he passes, I get crushed because he'll untap his horse.
No, that's not true. You have Skald. So you take the Skald. You don't have the Swordsman on field yet. You just take the Skald and just attack with the Skald.
Well, in that case, the exact same thing happens that just happened.
Why did he block the Skald with Mist Spirit? That's like bad.
Yeah, so now we go to sudden death procedures.
Yep.
Where I take 6 damage going to 1.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go. This is why I looked at Discord, because I had to go look up the what we had in the rules document.
Yeah.
So bear with me.
You know,
everybody can screen cap all this off YouTube and get everybody's personal information or something while we're messing around.
You can just go to the pin messages at the top and not have to
Don't
scroll
you
through
tell me how to look up the rules. So
save you a few steps there of scrolling.
So I get the rules up on I look at it,
Yeah.
I decide I'm going to 1. He still has 1,000,000 cards in deck because he's torrented 1,000 times, and
Yeah, there's
and
no way.
So I attack him. He's forced to block with horse.
Right, exhaust the horse.
What kills the horse?
Sure.
I mean, either way, it doesn't matter. The horse doesn't attack me. But after, like, we're talking about it here. Like, I'm tanking, and like
I think the best you could do at that point again is Xander to Swordsman, and you have to roll the dice to get that. I don't know what your dice roll ends up being, but
how does that help?
Well, because your Swordsman has
he just if I don't attack here, he just activates Mist Fair Book on his next turn. I never get to attack.
Sure. No, I'm talking about attack here. Take him to 2, and then play Swordsman and play Lioness, and that's about all you can do. And then the Swordsman just is able to defend your life, but ultimately, I think he's going to out wide you with just being able to play 4 Mist Spirits, right? Because only one of those Mist Spirits has to get through. And you actually have the dice to do it, but then you don't have. You have the dice to do it. So
it doesn't matter. I like come to the conclusion that I have to attack, take no side action. I mean, I could side action heal myself or whatever, but after doing that, there's no way that I will get through 2 damage, regardless of what I do. So I concede. Like,
yeah. But you could have side action again. Just talking about it, you could have side actioned here into. You have 3 side actions on board right now. One of them you'll lose if you play.
Well, if you just think about the way the turn turns out, I have a maximum of 2 units I can play.
Well, I think you can play an Anchornaut for 3 because you can go side action.
No, I can summon 1, and I can Xander for 1. That's it. That's 2 units.
Xander's an exhaustibility. That's true.
Yep.
Yeah. That's true.
Xander would
It's
be
not
absolutely busted if he was not exhaustible. So,
sure.
so I can make 2 units on board. He can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units.
Yeah. He can fill his board. So
and he only has to do 1. Like, or he could just like if he just activates. This is me conceding, not playing the heal, but if he just activates Misspirit Book, he literally can block all threats that I could possibly make for like 6 dice.
Sure.
And then we'll go to the next round, and I will die to decking.
Correct.
So we talked a lot about the things that went poorly for me this game. Like, I don't actually know how many cards he has remaining in his pile, but I could have definitely had like 2 or 3 more Owl activations that game if I had played correctly. If I had Earthquaked correctly, any of those times we talked about it in round 5,
right.
I would be
I think
like 6 higher life total and have a Sonic Swordsman in play.
And what we have to give credit to Waves for here is that he bluffed you through that Titan to make that play, right? So like you got fixated on the Titan because he was holding the dice to play Titan, and you thought that was his like last thing he was going to do when he just had multiple lines of play. So
right, I was worried about the Titan because I didn't want to I had built this board position. I didn't want to have to trade 2 units into it. Right. So I wanted to save the Earthquake, but I should have just went to face. I learned a lot playing this match. Again, I still feel the same way I feel about Horse. Mm-hmm. I think it's just too slow and it takes too much work. Mm-hmm. But in this case, where we went to decking,
it won the game.
He played a 40 card library against my 30. So
right. Yep.
That
well,
even without like everything else of the game happens exactly the same, but Torrent is discard rather than put back. I win. Right. It was just 10 Torrents that beat me.
Sure. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I'm with you. I don't think the horse in this game did the only thing it did was to your point is keep the deck size larger. So this deck feels a lot like it's just a stall deck, like trying to just out fatigue.
And I believe he won his second round, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
I thought he played very well. He was super nice. I had a great time playing this game, and I learned a lot about how my deck works.
Sure. And I think that end of the day, like I said, in this game and in round 2, Waves had a point in time where he was vulnerable to losing the game. And in both of those games, his opponent, you and Cam in round 2, missed their window of opportunity, right? And sometimes there are decks that when you miss the one window of opportunity in Ashes to win, you can't come out of it. The spiral of actions that occurs in that sequence puts you in a place where there's no way to find that window of opportunity again. Or if you do find it, it takes almost a whole nother game length to find it. And with sudden death rules, it's going to be impossible to see that. Right. So
thanks everyone for sitting through this with us. It was a slog. It was a slog to play. Congratulations to Waves on his 2-0 start.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I make a lot of comments in this video about how I lost the game for myself, and I believe that that's pretty correct. But credit to Waves, I thought he played very well. Obviously,
I don't think he gave you any real windows of opportunity, right?
So he didn't make any obvious mistakes that I think that I could see from my side anyway. That I just thought he played pretty tight, and obviously it was tight enough to beat me. So
yeah. Yep. And I always and one comment I had, I was talking in the commentary, I just realized that when I said why did he block the Mist Typhoon and the River Skald in the end there, the Light Swordsman has quick strike. That's why.
Yes,
he just wanted to put 1 damage on. He just wanted to put 1 damage on board for whatever reason. So, okay,
right.
Cool.
The block there didn't matter at all because the Light Swordsman has quick strike. The Skald has recover 1.
Yep. So, well, Neil, that's going to wrap up this video then. For all of you that are following along with the coverage, we appreciate it. Let us know in the comments below. Do you see anything different that Neil could have done here to open up or secure a better chance of victory?
Anybody that wants
What
to
we
talk to
talked
me
about?
about this game, please do so.
And then, if you like the video, a thumbs up just tells us we're doing a good job and that this is the kind of stuff you want to watch for Ashes coverage. And obviously, nothing says thank you more to us than a subscribe. So if you subscribe to us, thank you for that. And if you haven't subscribed to us, why not? I'm going to guilt you into it. No, I'm kidding. But
Wow.
No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. No, I am. I don't know what.
Jesse activates guilt link.
yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm guilt linking everybody. But no, I appreciate what the channel has grown leaps and bounds through our Ashes coverage, and the Ashes community has been so good to us. And we'll continue to put out great Ashes content as fast as we can. And I hope you all enjoy it. And then until next video, I think next video you'll get my round one with Problem, and that one has got a special commentary guest since I'm playing, and in that one Nick Connolly joins Neil to commentate, so we get the lead developer himself on voice. So all right, everybody, appreciate your time and appreciate everybody sticking through this game. We'll see you all in the next video. Take care.